Okay, so obviously back at the keyboard again today. I was fortunate enough to have my Muse kitten there. Made a little bit more progress with the section I've been working on, but it's going to be taking a while. I mean, I've kind of just resigned myself to the fact that it's going to be taking a while before I can get the section fixed. Probably another week or so. It's the biggest restructuring. This thing has become the biggest pain. So with that, I was just kind of going, kind of making small edits here, small changes, but ultimately didn't get very, very far. So with most of my writing today, most of my time, I actually was not actually doing any kind of writing. Most of my office time today was actually spent more basically analyzing my writing schedule and some of the other things that I've been doing to try and improve the writing process outside of actually writing. So my schedule, my sleep, things like that, kind of ways to improve that. And I'm starting to come to the kind of the slow realization that I can't be doing these 3 a.m. days. It was an okay idea. It was intelligent in the sense that I was basically kind of stacking up everything that I need to get done in my day. The problem was that I was not catching up on my sleep in the evenings to catch up with the 3 a.m. days. I couldn't force myself basically to fall asleep at like 7, 8 o'clock to try and get up for the 3 a.m. sessions. So it basically was a losing battle. So most of the day was kind of restructuring how I was going to start doing my writing. I think it's going to be more. It's still going to be early, but I think it's going to be more of like a 5 a.m. day. Because what I was doing before was I was getting up at 3. I was then doing a little bit of obviously a breakfast, kind of waking up, and then around like 4-ish was when I was actually starting to write. So I'm at the position now where I can't necessarily do that. So now it's going to be something where I'm going to spend more of my mornings getting up a little bit later, but writing before work still. So instead of writing from about 4 till about 5:30, which is what I was doing, it's going to be probably more about getting up at like 5 and writing from like 5:30 to 7 and then leaving for work. So give myself about a half hour to get up and get ready and all that. And the only reason I was not doing that before, the main factor was that I'd like to go to the gym in the mornings before work as well. It's working out in the evenings is a bit more of a challenge. I'm generally more fatigued. I'm generally just not wanting to work out. There's more people there. So generally, I like to get my workouts usually earlier in the day when there's less people. Unfortunately, I can't do, if I'm going to be getting up at 5 o'clock, I can't do both. So I need to start pushing my workouts to later in the day instead. It is what it is. It's not, it's honestly not ideal, but the trade-off is that I'll be getting up a little bit later, so I'll have a bit more sleep, and I'm going to be much more awake. Like I'm going to be much more, I'm hoping that by getting up at 5 o'clock, I'm going to be much more energized than I am at 3, with the hope that my mind maybe fires a little bit better, that the hope that I can get a little bit more done on, with my writing can get a little bit better. And I'm at the point where I think a lot of perhaps some of the issues I've had with this section are just coming from a lack of like adequate sleep, a lack of adequate recovery for it. Just because it's pretty coincidental that like the section that's giving me the hardest amount of time is also coming at a time when I'm changing up my entire sleep pattern and operating on less sleep than before. So with that, I'm just going to be making that adjustment. And in doing that, it's obviously a bit more inconveniencing on the workout exercise side of things, but that's just where that really is where having like a sense of priority matters the most, because if I want to just have sort of like a balanced day where I can get my workouts and my writing in the morning and then go to work and then be done by the evenings, it's a pretty balanced sort of day. It's a pretty balanced kind of life and all that, but I'm sacrificing potentially the quality of my writing as a result of that. So the idea of sort of stacking, things together like that, there's a cost to it. And instead, putting the most important thing to me, which is my writing first, and making sure that I have the recovery right, making sure that I have the timing in my schedule to do it. Putting that the first thing in my day before anything else, things like that matter way more, in a sense, when you have that priority, because you know that the thing that you want to be, your best at, right? The one thing you're trying to really focus and become really good at, that needs to be the first thing. And that needs to come before anything else, even at the inconveniencing of, potentially, losing something else. Me exercising in the evenings, yeah, there are probably gonna be days where I'm probably gonna be skipping the gym now. There might be days where I just don't feel like going to the gym just because I'm tired, fatigued, and like I just want to go home and not work out. And yeah, like my willpower basically is limited, so it might be days where that happens. I might be missing more workouts. That's the trade-off. That's basically the sacrifice in a sense. Is you can't always do the things that you want to do, because you're doing something else, and it's not just a matter of not doing them, but it's a matter of accepting that these other things that you want to do, you're not going to be necessarily as good at, right? Like if I start going to the gym later in the afternoons, my workouts are going to be probably less. My workouts are going to be less than what they were when I was doing it in the mornings. I'm going to be less energized. I'm probably not going to be getting potentially as much out of the gym as I could if I was doing it in the morning. But again, that's the trade-off. The trade-off is I get better at the writing and I get worse at the gym. It's zero sum. You lose as much as you gain. And so for me, like I said, that was most of my day today, was just kind of getting a bit more clear-headed about that, a bit more restructuring, a bit more just trying to figure out sort of the other side of the writing equation there, just to make sure that these things are going to work. And trying to devise some sort of strategy to make this more workable. And so that'll be the plan. Getting up at now 5 o'clock instead of 3, and then hoping that this extra 2 hours of sleep, that'll be the thing that maybe is the thing that's missing to help help me focus a bit more, help me get a bit more of my creative energy put out. All right, but that is it. So I'm signing off, and I'll be back on tomorrow.